Yo, what's going on, guys? Bexio back, and today we got a brand new video, this time on plug power, because we're just gonna look into what the market could hold for us tomorrow and next week, as well as why plug and these other companies that are fundamentally sound are the way to go. But before we jump into that, if you are not subscribed, make sure to smash that sub button, because we are on the road to 1,000 subscribers. But let's hop right into this video with the first thing to look at being obviously plug power's price chart. You can see the sea of red over here on the left side here, and then this massive down. I mean, we're just going to get rid of this ascending channel. It wasn't really anything super strong anyways, so we'll go from there and then kind of draw a trend line here from the top, and then just kind of about right there. There's two touches. So this is what we're going to be looking at, the near-term future for plug to kind of overcome. So obviously we have the what should be strong support, because it was very strong resistance for a long time in this red channel. So if it comes down to here, I mean, that's sub $30, but that's the baseline very strong support. If the market opens and is strong and rallying and is kind of pushing off those fears that happened on Friday, then we would be looking for the price to kind of come up to this 37, 47 area and see how it interacts here. If it gets rejected, continues the downtrend, or if it breaks it and manages to flip this into support and then kind of launch up again, getting back over these levels. But that's much more macro market type things, depending on how the market reacts to all of the news going on, interest rate hikes, variant things. All of that different stuff is affecting the entire market right now. It's not just plug. It is something to keep in mind when looking at individual stocks, because, you know, the short term can be controlled by sentiment. The sentiment not very good right now. And we can see this with an article that was made on December 3rd. That was the Friday that everything hit the fan. Everything went red. But talking about plug power, Bloom Energy, and fuel cell energy stocks plunged on Friday. All three of these guys are very similar in business. They're all kind of achieving the same thing, going down maybe different paths of doing it, but they're all around that same type of industry. You can see here, hydrogen fuel cell stocks sank on Friday as macroeconomic raffle news rattled the stock market and triggered a massive sell-off in growth stocks. In particular, by 3 p.m. on Friday, here's how much some of the most popular names from the niche renewable energy space had declined. Is that a sentence? Here's how much some, I don't know if that's a real sentence, but you can see plug power down 9.9%, fuel cell energy down 12.3%, and Bloom down 6.6%. So Bloom down the least, fuel cell down the most. These are the different types of things affecting this whole market. So you see variant being a big topic. Omicron shook nations across the globe. Lots of panic globally about lockdowns and how that would affect economies. Just as things started picking up and started to try to get back to normal on an economy base, just throws another wrench into it. And there was massive happiness, or like massive euphoria, with the $1.2 trillion infrastructure bill package that had a new variant was renewed fears of lockdowns and yet another economic slowdown. So the variant just threw off this entire spending bill of 1.2 trillion that would help green growth stocks, all these different type of energy stocks, would help them very, very well. And now it's looking like maybe that's going to be smaller than what it was projected to be, as well as we have this variant. There's a lot of things going on that are just throwing wrenches in everything. And whenever there's uncertainty for the market hates that, and you're seeing what happens when that happens. But you see, the problem though is that all of these companies are only starting off and have yet to turn a profit. That's Bloom Energy, fuel cell energy, and then plug power. All of them have not made a profit yet. It's something that goes into like the investor's mindset and how, if they want to get involved in the company, things like that, and if they want to be in it for a long time, because these companies haven't made money, but the projections are very good. It's been strengthening over earnings every single time. We can see that with just a quick kind of Google of Plug's earnings. And you can see their revenue, $143 million for year over year. It's up almost 35%. I think this is the highest revenue they've ever reported. So that's very good, a good news, because we actually see that they're moving forward. They're not declining on revenue. They're not declining on business. So it's actually good to see, healthy to see them continue going up on this revenue scale instead of going down. If they were going down, not a good look, especially being a growth company, but they're going up. So it's a good look. Even though they're burning cash, you can see net income minus $106 million. We know they're burning cash. We know that this is all going on. This is not surprising, but it is good to see revenue go up and up over time. So even though none of the companies have made profits yet, I don't know the other ones, Bloom Energy and Fuel Cell Energy. I don't know the exact numbers for all of them, but I do know Plug, at least moving forward with a bunch of partnerships, building out their infrastructure, everything going very good going into 2022, and them just being able to show that the revenue is growing and they are growing as a company. And the big reason of what is actually going to have massive effects on the market is the Federal Reserve raising interest rates earlier than expected, given the high inflation. When rates rise, the bond market appeals to investors more than stocks. So bonds, because it's guaranteed return, there's no risk in bonds, because there's just, it's like the US bonds and stuff. When you get into company bonds, then you get more risky. But in treasury bonds, there's basically no risk there. And that is what appeals to investors, even though they're not good returns. You know, the stock market on average is 7 to 10%. These bonds, I think you're lucky if you get 2%. Like, they're not good returns. They're not great investments, but for whatever reason, that's where investors go when these rates get higher. And the stock market, it can suffer, but it doesn't like collapse or anything really bad happen to it. And looking over, this is just a quick little chart to kind of look at all of the different these three companies, because they're very similar in what they're doing. And you see they were basically around the same in the beginning, but then Fuel Cell Energy just, I don't know what happened to it, but not a good look. Bloom Energy just kind of break even on, I think this is the year, or at least since July, so since the summer at least. And Plug Power actually up 8% since the summer. So Plug doing well, Bloom breaking even, Fuel Cell, down 31. That's not a good look at all. But again, I don't know exactly what's going on with all of those companies in particular, but they're in the similar field as Plug. And then to flip the script, kind of make it better, talking about, meanwhile, Plug Power, Bloom Energy, and Fuel Cell Energy combined give investors multiple reasons to remain optimistic, including back-to-back deals, big contracts, strong quarterly numbers, and even a strong outlook. And for Plug itself, hasn't just seen a flurry of deals in recent weeks, but also raised its revenue outlook for 2022. That's what we were talking about here. Their revenue, this was the highest they've ever made in their company's history, and they're going to raise it even more for 2022. They're very optimistic. They're very excited about what the company can do, and that shows when you look at like insider transactions. You can see recently there's been a recent buy in October, but then these buys even in the summer, 13 buys, 8 buys, and then there's only 2 sales by one insider, by one person. So we're seeing a lot of buying happen. So to me, that sells that insiders and people who know like day to day what's going on with the company, what it's kind of looking like for the outlook, are very excited on what can happen. They are excited to see the growth happen. And they say in their earnings call, they talk about how growth is expected, revenue is expected to go up, and all of these things. The outlook is to 2024 when they're projected to be profitable. If they're profitable before that, that'll be amazing. That'll be great news. But it's at least by 2024 to kind of live up to their own expectations. So Plug Power, I think it looks pretty good. I like that, they're fundamentally sound. That's what you want to look for in companies right now, where fundamentals are strong, because we're going to go into a growth or a period where interest rates start to get higher and debt and stuff starts to get more expensive. And there's no longer that cheap cash to go around and kind of easily grow your company with. And one more thing to show about Plug Power here, coming from their earnings report, this is one thing I really like about Plug. The cash on hand, they have $3.37 billion. So they have a lot of money on hand to make moves, make acquisitions and continue growing the company, even if interest rates get out of hand and you can't get cheap debt to grow your company anymore. So Plug's in a good spot there. They're in a good spot fundamentally with building out their infrastructure. Going into 2022, I think it's going to be a good year for Plug. And we'll see short term how things interact with the overall market sentiment, tax loss harvesting, securing gains for hedge funds for clients, a lot of things going on into the end of the year. But looking into 2022, it looks really good for Plug. That's going to do it for this video, guys. As always, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. I'll see you guys in my next